All right, let's dive into one of the most dynamic and, honestly, most formidable personality types out there, the ENTJ, otherwise known as the Commander.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room with someone who just takes charge?
I mean, they just walk in, and you can literally feel the energy in the room shift.
There's absolutely no hesitation. They see the finish line, they instantly map out the best way to get there, and they start moving, just like that.
They're not just taking the lead for the sake of it. They are driving towards results, period. If any of this sounds even remotely familiar, then yeah, you've probably met a commander.
But here's the thing about that incredible drive. It's exactly why they are so often misunderstood. So let's peel back the curtain a little and see what's really going on in that mind of theirs.
It really comes down to perception versus reality. So what some people might call bossy is in reality a born leader stepping up. What feels too intense is actually the laser focus of a true visionary. And that feeling of being controlled, well, that's what it feels like when a master strategist is putting all the pieces in place to make sure everyone wins.
And hey, if you're an ENTJ listening to this right now, you've probably felt this your entire life, right? This feeling like you're just wired differently, getting so frustrated by inefficiency and slow progress. Well, the truth is, you are wired differently. Your brain is a high-performance engine, and it was built for leadership.
So let's actually pop the hood and decode that brain. What's the operating system that makes the ENTJ a natural-born strategy machine?
Okay, it all starts with these 4 letters. E is for extrovert. They get their battery charged by interacting with people. N is for intuition, which means they're always focused on the big picture, the grand vision. T is for thinking, so every decision is filtered through pure, cold logic, not fleeting emotions. And finally, J is for judging. This just means they thrive on structure, plans, and getting things done.
Now, you put all of that together, and what do you get? You get a mind that works like a finely tuned strategy machine. It's constantly scanning the future, planning the next 10 moves, and executing with incredible speed. It's why, while everyone else is getting bogged down in the tiny details, the ENTJ is already out there building tomorrow.
And that's exactly how they earn these titles you see all the time. The commander, the CEO personality, the strategist, the leader. And these aren't just cool-sounding nicknames. They're basically a job description. They tell you exactly what an ENTJ is built to do.
But here's the thing, that kind of power is always, and I mean always, a double-edged sword. So to really get the full picture of the commander, we have to look at both their amazing strengths and their most critical blind spots.
Okay, let's start with their arsenal, because their strengths are seriously impressive. We're talking about natural, strong leadership backed up by brilliant strategic thinking. This creates this rock-solid confidence that lets them be incredibly decisive. They are visionary, they are goal-oriented, and they solve problems with a kind of efficiency that can just leave you breathless. Honestly, they are engineered for success.
But now let's flip the coin and look at the blind spots. That same incredible drive, it can easily tip over into being controlling. Their absolute hatred of inefficiency makes them super impatient, which can come across as aggressive. And because they're so focused on logic, they can sometimes just completely run over the feelings of other people, and a lot of the time their own feelings too. It's a mix that can make them pretty critical and almost magnetically pull towards becoming a workaholic.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly nails the central challenge for every single ENTJ. Their entire system is built on the belief that results matter most. But the biggest area for growth, the one thing that takes a commander from just being good to being truly great, is realizing that to get the best results, people matter too. Empathy is the key that unlocks everything.
So how does all this actually play out in the real world? Let's take it from theory to practice and see how the commander shows up in 2 of life's biggest arenas, their career and their relationships.
At work, ENTJs are in their element when they can grab the steering wheel and drive a big vision forward. Think CEO, entrepreneur, top-level manager, consultant, lawyer, politician. Any job that requires bold leadership, sharp strategy, and decisive action is their natural home. They need a challenge. A job without the chance for growth or control isn't a career to them. It's a cage.
And in relationships, they approach love with that same strategic mind and fierce loyalty. For an ENTJ, love isn't about fluffy words, it's about action. They show they care by providing security. They show their commitment by literally building a future together, step by step. And maybe most of all, they show love by investing in their partner's success. They're not looking for a sidekick. They want a co-founder to build an empire with.
And that brings us to the final and I think most important part of this whole thing. How does a commander level up? How do they go from just being powerful to being truly great? Well, that is their ultimate quest.
So, here are the mission objectives. First, making a conscious effort to listen more and practice patience, especially with people who don't think as fast as they do. Next, learning to delegate and to actually trust your team is a total game changer. But the final boss, that's learning to respect emotions in others and in themselves. That's how they finally learn to lead people instead of just controlling projects.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It all boils down to the simple but incredibly powerful formula. Their natural power, combined with developed empathy, creates a truly great leader. Because think about it, without empathy, a commander might win a few battles, but they will always eventually lose the war for the hearts and minds of their people.
So as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with a couple of questions. First off, do you think big?
Do you absolutely despise slow progress? And do you feel that natural pull to just take the reins and drive things forward?
Well, if you're nodding along, you might just be a commander. And if you are, please remember this. The world desperately needs your vision. It needs your strategy. And it needs your drive. But to really change it for the better, it also needs your heart.
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर